Alright. I don't need these on. Why do I have these on? Alright, so I just got done. Episode 20, Season 1 of the Clone Wars. Now, if you don't know, I'm watching every single episode of the Clone Wars, starting with Season 1, going all the way to Season 7. And, yeah, we're at Episode 20 here. Innocence of Ryloth. Continuation of Episode 19. Storm over Ryloth. Something like that. This episode is the coveted introduction of Waxer and Boyle, these two little golden nuggets right here in the back. And quick synopsis of what happens in the episode. Very beginning, they try to do the ground assault, continuation from episode 19. So they try to attempt a ground assault to learn that there's cannons on the ground that end up shooting down some of these star cruisers. I don't remember what they're called, but they're actually the mini ones. They're not like the actual cruisers. They might be called Devastators. I think that's what they're called. That's just a memory guess. If I got that right, I just might be the most goated Clone Wars watcher there is. But yeah, so they try to do the ground assault. Cannons shoot them down. Obi-Wan gets the orders while he's in one of the gunships to land on the planet, do a ground assault, take care of the cannon so that they can land on the rest of the reinforcements. And then right from the get-go, we had Boyle just straight up call the Twi'lek tailheads. A little bit of racism to start this episode. You love to see it. Based as fuck as a 2008 children's show. Love to see it. We need more of this in today's era. You know? No more Lego Dreams, you know? Get me some of this. Get Clone Wars, but just put it in Lego. Oh my god. Infinite money. Anyways. So like I was saying, yeah, they land on the ground. They try to get the assault going. They end up infiltrating the village. We get a little bit of showcase of Waxer and Boyle and how they're a little bit more trusted than the average clone. Commander Cody's also there, and Commander Cody kind of leads like all the clones without the paint on their armor. These two seem to be the only ones with the yellow paint and the whole, or orange paint, if you want to call it that, in the whole episode. Other than obviously Cody. So they infiltrate the city. Cody and I'm trying to remember his name because he was called a name. I can't remember his name, but he's like a white plain cone. It started with a W. Fuck, I can't remember his name. Damn it. Well, rest in peace, whoever that was. I can't remember his fucking name, but he essentially goes on a search with Commander Cody, and then Wax and Boyle go on the other side of the city, and they try to do their search to see, I guess, her survivors, lay of the land, that type of stuff. They end up going. Waxer and Boyle encounter a probe droid, which is kind of an interesting, return, I guess you could say. You don't really see probe droids too often in Season 1 here, so it's nice to see them. These ones seem to be much smaller variants, and they even have like little feet that they use to stand on surfaces. You don't really see that from probe droids in any Star Wars media, so I'm happy to see it in this episode here. So they notice the probe droid, they try to hide. In the time they hide, or just before they start to hide, they actually encounter Nera. No, wait, what's her name? Now she says Nera as brother. Fuck, I can't remember her name. She encounters the child Twi'lek, I think their name are. And she's basically scared of them. Waxer and Boyle kind of have like almost like an older brother, younger brother argument where one of them's just like, come on, stop wasting your fucking time. And then, you had Waxer basically try to be more friendly towards the kid, give him some food type situation. Then she ends up calling them Nera, and Nera ends up meaning brother. So pretty, pretty good connection because clones main things are brothers. She's calling them a brother. You get the gist. Also they're part Mexican. No, I'm joking. They are technically, Latina, I guess we would call it, because, or Latino, sorry, because Django's not exactly a, you know what I mean? But doesn't matter. I don't really care. But, yeah. So Nera, I forget her name. The baby Twi'lek leads Waxer and Boyle to their her former home, I guess. And then they kind of do a little bit of dialogue here and there. And then the tactical droid leading this mission sends starved giant roaches, I guess you could call them. Massive fucking things. They run at Obi-Wan's platoon, and the reason why they know where Obi-Wan's platoon, squad, whatever you want to call it, is because they had a probe droid on them the whole time, and Obi-Wan was still able to get the upper hand here. So they send these starving things. Obi-Wan uses the Force to kind of like trick the starving things to track at him, so they don't end up killing all the clones, and then we get a nice little clone just being like unbelievable while watching Obi-Wan use the Force. You know, little moments like that definitely had a little bit of that Clone Wars sauce cooked in the episode, which you can always appreciate with the Clone Wars. Just little sprinkles of just good dialogue between characters, making you always want to pay attention to the episode, unlike most of the garbage nowadays, where it's just like people sitting in a room, nothing of note happens, and then they go do a thing, and then nothing of note happens. Other than result and beginning, and that's pretty much it. You know, Clone Wars definitely has a lot of substance, a lot of sauce, a lot of seasoning in the episode. I like it. But also, totally not because I'm biased, because I watched this as a kid. But, yeah, so roaches end up, you know, killing a few people. Waxer and Boyle, they also eventually meet up with Obi-Wan's squad just before the roaches come. And then they devise a plan to basically distract the main squadron of droids, keeping all the Twi'leks prisoner. And while they're distracting, they end up going through the pipelines, something where only the locals knew, and that's why the child here was able to lead them to the pipelines, because she knew about, I guess, the pipes. So they end up sneaking, actually, in this scene, into the room, where this poor, sad, lone droid was cleaning the cages, and then Obi-Wan, out of mercy, closed the cage on him, and then the droid is just sitting there in the corner, unfortunately. F in the chat for my boy. The unnamed droid, episode 20, gets trapped in the cage. But they end up saving all the prisoners. As they save the prisoners, the tactical droid, from getting baited by Cody's diversion, ends up turning around, tries to get the drop on Cody, but once the Twi'lek child ends up running out to basically try to help Waxer and Boyle because they get shot at, basically every Twi'lek that was a prisoner is just like, fuck it, now it's time to be a hero. And they all ran out and they just beat the shit out of the tactical droid. Pretty cool to watch. And then after that, you know, generic stuff, cruisers land, or I guess... Fuck, now I can't remember what they're called. Devastators, I think is what they were called. Land, and then they pick up Obi-Wan and everything. And then you have the Twi'lek child just waving at Waxer and Boyle goodbye. Or saying Nara, brother, whatever. But yeah, that's basically a general gist of the episode. Nothing crazy, to be honest with you, but it's just a solid episode, you know? It's just solid, you know? And a lot of these Clone Wars episodes are just solid. They don't do a lot of things bad, you know? Occasionally you'll get one or two episodes that just don't have great dialogue, or the concept is a little generic, or it's kind of like, okay, this feels like exactly like a previous premise of an episode, but just a little different. But this episode is just, like, solid, you know? They had a diversion that's fairly common amongst most clone tactics. And then they had a few unique clones, continuing the uniqueness of armor printing in most of the Season 1 episodes. Almost every single Season 1 episode that has had a clone, aside from maybe one or two, they just always have a unique variant. So it's nice to see Waxer and Boyle second in command, and I believe we see them in future episodes, so it's nice to see how they end up, you know, basically being a rookie version of their future selves, I guess is a good way to put it. But outside of that, we had some, you know, good dialogue here and there between Boyle, the kid, Obi-Wan, tactician droid. Yeah, I mean, not too much to say other than it was just solid, you know? Nothing really too terrible to say. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty much the episode. I'd give it probably a 7 out of 10. I would give it an 8 out of 10, only because of Waxer and Boyle, but I gotta not be that nostalgia craved. Now that I am watching through Season 1, and I'm going through all the episodes, I gotta pull back the nostalgia. So I'll definitely give this episode a solid 7 out of 10. I just think it was solid. Nothing was really bad about this episode. Episode didn't keep me on my toes. There wasn't like crazy things going on. Me personally, I know a lot of people love Star Wars for their lightsaber duels. I actually like the shootouts a lot more than lightsaber duels. Maybe that's just a personal thing. Could be a hot take. I don't really know, but that's my personal standpoint. This definitely had some decent shootouts, and we got AATs. Love AATs. One of my favorite iterations of a futuristic tank. But yeah, other than that, there's not really much else to talk about other than it just being a solid episode with solid dialogue, solid characters, and solid humor, At the end of the day, this is kind of just filler, not really anything crazy going on, but I liked it for the most part, So, yeah, if you made it to the end, I want to thank you for watching, and as always, I hope you have a good day.